Nerd alert, dork face.
I am not a loser. I just have a bad haircut.
Kind of a major dork.
Oh, nerds.
If you're into science, tech, or unique hobbies, you're listening to the right show. On Get Nerdy With It, we interview nerds talking about their passions. This is Get Nerdy With It.
Hi, welcome to Get Nerdy With It. This is Jennifer Ruggiero, your host, and this is episode number 12. Today is Wednesday, August 7th, and with us tonight we have our regular co-host back after his long vacation, Christopher Rizzo. How are you, Christopher?
Need another vacation, I think.
You need a vacation from your vacation?
On my vacation, yeah. 3 weeks is like way too long to be away from home.
Wow. It's a long time.
It's a very long time.
Where did you go? You traveled all over the States, or?
We went from Maine to Florida. We did a lot of, me and my daughter and I, we camped Acadia National Park, which is in Maine. It's like the furthest point north of the United States. Like you're almost to like Nova Scotia or whatever. It's like right across the pond. And then we went down in Virginia. We were in what is it, Shenandoah something? Caverns or
okay,
yeah, something like that.
Yep,
the caverns there. We did that. We were in Florida and just everywhere in between. You know, we stopped almost every state. We would stop like in a city or little towns in between, and
cool.
Just, whatever. Just took in the entire East Coast.
So then you were exhausted though by the time you got back.
Yeah, because when we went to Florida, we were there for not quite 2 weeks, maybe 11 days or something, and we did Disney and Universal, all the theme parks and stuff down there. So it was a lot of walking, and it's the humidity down south is so much different than what I'm used to, like up north, like where there's like zero humidity. Yeah, so it was just like a draining and exhausting vacation for those little 11 days, 12 days or whatever.
Wow.
And
I'm glad you're back. I'm glad we had some good guest show hosts. I'm so happy that you're back though. So welcome back.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back.
Well, hey, we have a super guest with us tonight. His name is Mr. Wayne Sutton from socialwayne.com. Hi, Wayne. How are you?
Hi, Jennifer. I'm well. Glad to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Now, Wayne, I was reading a little bit about you on socialwayne.com, and I noticed that it said that you were an early adopter and one of the first 1,000 users on Twitter. And the reason I bring this up is that is how we met. So a little story for you all. Wayne, I remember him being one of the biggest guys on Twitter back when Twitter first launched, and you were doing the Triangle Tweet Up. And then here in the Triad, where I am, we were doing the Triad Tweet Up, and that's how we met. I believe you came to one of our Triad Tweet Ups. So,
totally, yeah. That was back in the good old days of early adoption on Twitter before everybody jumped on the social media bandwagon.
Yeah, it was more where we socialized with friends and just kind of it was a different ball game back then. I think as far as Twitter goes.
It was cool. It was really about building relationships and connecting with people in an undigital way online versus more marketing and so forth like it is nowadays. Just trying to get people to click on a link or read your blog and that sort of thing.
Yep, exactly. Right now it's all about promotion and so. Christopher, when did you start? Did you start back in? Oh, I guess Wayne, you.
No, I didn't start. That was what, 2007 or 2008?
Or 2006, 2007? When did you start, Wayne? 2006?
Yeah, Twitter was founded in 2006, and I was like using them 800 something to sign up, and I think we started hosting tweet ups in 2008 or 9, so around that time frame.
Yeah. I remember when I think a common friend of ours, Talo Sui, he was the first one to tell me about Twitter, and I remember him sending he sent me a MySpace message back in the day. And he said, you'll want to check out twitter.com, and that's how I learned about it. Funny. Anyway, so when I'm reading more about you, you have your hands in so many things. So I would I guess, describe you as an entrepreneur, and who has his hands in a lot of different projects, and one of those being PitchTo.co. Is that right? PitchTo.
Yes.
Or PitchTo.com, or is it .co?
No, it's .co.
Okay, .co. And can you tell us about what PitchTo is?
So PitchTo is the platform to manage and rate founder pitches. The concept was conceived because I'm out here in Silicon Valley, San Francisco, and when I was doing the incubator and accelerator, I would go to like the pitch events, and I held the pitch events, and I would go and I would just see investors and analysts and people just use a sheet of paper to take notes on. And then like there'd be judges at pitch contests or hackathons or startup weekends. And it's like a piece of paper, right? And I'm like, are we not in Silicon Valley? Are we not have tablets and just all this technology and data? I said, wouldn't it be good to have a platform to actually create a score or an algorithm around how you actually rate pitches? Because people are doing it already, but they're not doing it in a some people are, but not doing it in a way that you can collect the good data around it and help make smarter decisions. And so that's why I came up with the concept for PitchTo.
Okay, so you mean by pitch, so for people that might not know, so what you're talking about is when an entrepreneur wants to pitch something to an investor, correct?
Yeah, yes, that's one of the ways. Other ways is like, there's a hackathon, and then at the end of the hackathon, you got to pitch your demo, right? And then so you're on stage and you're actually pitching your demo, and then there's a judges panel, and so they are actually like either taking notes and actually rating the demo, whether they like the design, they like the founder, what they think about the presentation, would they invest in the product, would they use the product, and so collecting data around those decisions. Because literally, I've been at events now, I had a sheet of paper where it's like rate some of these categories in 1 to 10, and then I'm thinking like, I mean, that's your first impression of a company or individual. And if you see that's your business, which is for a lot of associates and VCs and investors, to look at a lot of entrepreneurs, wouldn't it be helpful to mine that data?
That's what a great idea to start something like this. You're welcome. You're welcome. So as far as what you do specifically, are you I guess you're helping entrepreneurs or create these pitches, and are you the liaison between them and the investor, or how does that relationship work?
Well, it's a couple of things. So PitchTo has been a journey since I started working on it last year. So recruited a team that didn't work out. Man, it's the entrepreneurship life, right? And then so I've been learning how to code better. I've always been a designer, front-end UI, UX guy. A lot of people don't know, but they think me as a social media guy. I actually don't like being called that now. but
how would you describe yourself now?
Just a geek, entrepreneur, geek. That's it. You know, it's just me. But I do design UI, UX. So while my role at PitchTo as the founder and CEO, I'm actually building out the platform myself, and actually using the platform as a tool to help collect data on pitches, and then offer better feedback to entrepreneurs looking for that feedback. So there is a services tied to the business in terms of consulting, in terms of make sure you're pitch ready. That I don't do as much as I would like to, not this time, because I'm still building up the platform. Hopefully have it be sending out beta invites actually on Friday. Wow. But I do get a lot of inbound requests like to work on to help people consult them on their pitching product. But then the platform in itself, my goal for it to be a self-sustaining tool to where you upload your pitch video, then you send out your pitch video or slide deck to investors or to mentees or so forth and say, hey, rate my pitch, rate my deck, let me know what you think so I can be better prepared myself.
That's really cool. I wish I had something to pitch.
Well, I mean, still, you can create a get nerdy with it profile and then put put like a deck or a video. Like, hey, let me know what you think.
Yeah, that's a good idea. What do you think, Christopher?
Yeah, we could do it. It sounds cool.
It definitely does. It definitely does. So I'm looking here, educational resources, mobile platform, and managed founder pitches, it says here. So mobile platform, what do you mean by make better decisions using an intuitive mobile platform?
So PitchTo out the gate is going to be HTML5 web optimized for mobile devices, ideally preferred for tablets, right?
Okay.
Eventually, we will have a native iOS and Android app. That's going to come later. But out the gate, you can log in with Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, and Twitter, or either use your email and then on your tablet and then start rating pitches that way. And then the goal is so when it comes to investors making smarter decisions, there's a couple things. Paul Graham had a great post he put out today, founder of Y Combinator, about how investors make decisions of founders. And he used the word formidable, basically saying that is a founder is confident enough, and then also has what it takes. The investors looks at has what it takes to say they're going to succeed. And then I took a couple of angel investment training classes and workshops last year, and the word I kept hearing over and over again was intuition, right? And then I was at startup school, and Ryan Conway was speaking, and he was like, he met a founder, he immediately has these 50 checklists that he has in his head that he knows whether it's a good founder or not, right? And so I'm listening to all this, and it's all personal bias, right? And then, but it's like, okay, how do you measure that? Because everybody looks at a entrepreneur differently, whether it's like the person or the product. And so my thesis is that if you can collect data in terms of how you rating these founders, then eventually over time you should be able to look at, like, I rated this founder a 80, I rated this one a 70, but both of I rated this one a 80 and rated this one a 40, but my decision to invest was the same. Why? Okay, but then because I didn't like but I may have gave the presentation a low, I may have gave the demo a low score, but I still like that show. But I gave the founder a high score. So what does that mean? That means that I like the founder, I don't like the demo, I don't like the pitch, but I like the founder. And so collecting this data will help you make smarter decisions. And then also there is the term out here, pattern matching, right? Which is looking for successful patterns to invest in, which is the typical Silicon Valley pattern, is the Mark Zuckerberg pattern, right? Young college dropout or CS major, white male, white male. That's the pattern. And what is now, there's tons of programs out here trying to not necessarily change the pattern, but increase the numbers of diverse entrepreneurs. The thing is what can we do from a data standpoint to help make decisions to remove the personal bias and help remove the pattern matching? Basically saying, look at the data. If you like the founder, you like the product, you like the demo, why won't you invest?
I love it. And you're right, because that is the profile right now, I think, of what people expect for startups,
tech founders,
right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, interesting. Well, I'm excited about this. I can't wait to see where this is going to be a year from now. It's already pretty far along. I mean, but after you launch the apps and have the mobile site as well. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm just excited. My thing is, like, last year I was trying to do, and this is just like. You're always learning, right? You ever get to the point where you're not learning, either you're too cocky or arrogant or something's wrong. And so it's like you're always learning. And my thing last year, I was like, I'm trying to build a startup, create this great, amazing company, raise some money, whatever. Like, no, slow down. It's like, just build a useful tool, create something that you like, you will use. And then if it has market, if you find product market fit, people use it. I just want this tool out there. If it works, it's great. At the end of the day, I'm going to use it. So I'm happy. I'm be happy with that.
Yeah, that's a good attitude. That's a real good attitude.
I have a question. Do you only push this like on the West Coast, or do you do anything like, because it seems like a lot of these young guys are all from the East Coast. Seems like they're all from Boston or New York, and then they move to the West Coast. But have you thought about like coming to the East Coast to try to get them on board before they make that jump? You understand what I'm saying? Like, yes,
Chris, great question. I have, my mindset is the world. So it's just where my mindset is. And so the East Coast, yes. There's a couple of other elements to the company that's outside of just the platform. And that's a newsletter around all the pitch events and a calendar around pitch events. right? Because those happen everywhere. Happens on the East Coast, happen in North Carolina, happen in Greensboro, happen in Raleigh, Durham, happen in San Francisco, Boston, you name it. There's pitch events everywhere, demo days everywhere. And so I want to crowdsource all the pitch events, create a newsletter out of it, and then plus it's good for lead generation for me in terms of saying, who's having a pitch event, I want to know about it. But I also provide a way if I'm an entrepreneur, because I think I'm on a value add. What's the entrepreneur? If I want to know about any pitch event, because I may want to submit, I may want to pitch, because some of these pitch events offer now $10,000, $100K, or opportunity to be on Shark Tank or something. And so yes, most definitely East Coast, and plus I'm from North Carolina, so once I get a few more things taken care of, I'm going to reach back to some friends over there and say, hey, let me know. Here's the platform. Let me know what you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I live right here in the Boston area, and so I see so much stuff. Like, I see all these guys when they, they'll do something, and the next thing I know, you'll hear about the company. Oh, we're in San Francisco now, or the Bay Area, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Wow, why don't you guys stay here?
Well, on that note, you got to think about the why, right? So why do companies come out to San Francisco? Like, even for me, like, why am I out here? Because although, yes, you can be successful in Boston, New York, North Carolina, Detroit, Austin, Portland, Seattle, these tech hubs, right? These tech communities. Even Vegas now, with Tony Hsieh and all the stuff they're doing in Vegas. You can be very successful in these companies, places, right? But if you look at in terms of opportunity for national, worldwide growth, for scaling, for talent, and then you want to put your company in the best position for that, mm-hmm. and then for that place is the San Francisco, right now, San Francisco, Silicon Valley Bay Area, if you're a tech company. And then if you take, and you're looking for the amount of investment, people with capital for investments, the opportunity for deal flow, the opportunity for talent, is just a greater chance of success out here. Now, that doesn't mean it can't be done. We see cases. I mean, look at Tumblr, but Tumblr's 1 in a million, right? Foursquare is doing okay now, and supposedly, and then you got Fab, you got all these other startups in New York doing well, but you got to look at it. And then also, some of it depends on the team and the founder. What are their goals, their benchmarks they set for their company? Because you can launch a nice $100,000 software tech business in Greensboro, Boston, New York, you name it, North Carolina, and be fine. And what's wrong with that? Nothing. Okay, sustainable. Maybe pay you a team of 5, 6, or whatever. But if you want to level up and go, worldwide, or want to be in consideration of the Twitters or the Instagrams, you want to come out here.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And that makes sense. It makes sense with all the connections and investors out there. So I guess that's where it all happens. Yeah. It's a shame. I kind of wish that, I guess maybe someday I'll have to move out to San Francisco. I'll have to follow your lead, Wayne. You're paving the way.
Time will tell. Time will tell. Time will tell us all things. So, yeah.
So, hey, I had read also that you are, a co-founder in studentventures.org.
Yes.
And will you tell us about that, what that does? Because it sounds amazing to me when I'm looking at it here, but I want you to put it in your own words.
Thank you. So Student Ventures is a concept that me and one of my housemates, when we first did an incubator accelerator in 2011, Hodge Flemings came up with around paving the way for the next generation of entrepreneurs, the kids. Mm-hmm. And our goal is to train middle and high school students to be next level entrepreneurs and to prepare them for the new generation of the workplace.
Gosh.
But what does that look like, right? It didn't go into I don't want to say rural, urban. I don't want to say certain communities, but our goal is to go in communities that are not the masses, are not the popular, and talk about entrepreneurship and technology in those communities. Because like you pointed out in the previous conversation we were having offline about the lack of diversity in some tech communities, right? Mm-hmm. And so we know for a fact that the same conversations that happen out here about technology and so forth, and opportunities and learning and code and all that are not being held in urban communities. It's just not happening. And then that's creating a huge digital divide, which end up hurting not just minorities, but everybody in the long run, because now you got a community that's falling behind. And what are you going to do? Because are they just going to die, or they're going to create other higher costs that other people have to pay for? And so you don't want that to happen. And then plus, I care. I have a son. I care. I want to best position myself to be successful for him. And so I want him to know about everything technology-wise, because what we see now with just like Google Glass and then just other technologies that's coming up, virtual reality that we've been dreaming about for years, their generation is going to actually have it, and they'll be actually creating innovation ideas around it. So our goal is to train these, to go into different communities, do one-day boot camps about entrepreneurship, and not because there is this big learn the code movement that's happening across the country, the world, but we know everybody's not set out to be a developer.
Right.
It's just not reality. So our goal is to talk about coding, talk about entrepreneurship, the aspects of that, which is think about of how do you process solving problems in your own community or just in general, or either using technology to solve a problem. And then expose them to other levels of entrepreneurship, of business development. You need to have a big emphasis on design, UI, UX. And then also venture capital. What does that mean? Not just in other parts of the country, that means I'm going to loan you some money. And then if I make 10x back, if I make a return, you expect to get 10x return. But yes, that's the math of it and to some aspects of it. But there's a deeper meaning to venture capital that we really have to understand that a lot of communities don't. And so we started in Detroit last year with a pilot, about 200 kids. That's where Hodge is from. And we're doing another event in Detroit later this year. And we'll eventually want to expand that to across the country.
Wow. I love this. This is beautiful. I mean, because they really do, kids that are, I guess, in underprivileged communities, or I would imagine that they are not exposed to technology, or not just technology, but oh gosh, I can't even say what I want to say. I'm trying to articulate it in the proper way of saying it.
No, yeah. No. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, because I mean the facts are, some of the facts are, yes, there's a lot of communities that's below the poverty level. But there's some twisted facts, right? Because below the poverty level, half of African American boys are not even graduating from high school. But then African American and Hispanic community are the number one consumers in smartphones and tablets, and spend more time on social networks and send text messages. And so this technology barrier is really not there in some levels, but it's the mindset of what can you do with this technology that can mean a greater opportunity to you, that which our goal we hope to help change, because it's 2013, it's America. There's no reason for any community really to be struggling. It's a matter of, is there any hope in that community and willingness to change, and from a community aspect and also from an individual aspect, to say, I don't have to be another basketball player, football player, musician, rapper, or whatever. I can launch a business with technology and think about solving problems in my community, and here's how.
Oh, that's beautiful. How did the first pilot go?
It went amazing. We Haas does a conference in Detroit called Brandon Camp, and so we tag teamed him together, where we used some of his speakers come in and actually present it to the kids and talk, and then I actually brought some of the kids on stage and let them talk about what they learned and practice pitching and so forth as well. So it was a beautiful thing.
I love this project. I love this. It's so important, and you're just launching new hope and opportunities, basically, of what they can do. Like you said, besides just playing a sport or being a musician or whatever, that there is actually, hey, you can be an entrepreneur. Look at what technology can do for you. And some of them might have developer type of skills, but some may not. But yet they can still have those ideas and learn how to launch that and put technology to use. So, this is great. Well,
I wish I was a kid right now, like growing. I wish I could be like 5 years old now and get to experience like all this stuff that is, like you said, like with the Google Watch, the self-driving cars Google's doing. Like, if that Apple has a watch, I mean, it's just so much. The technology is just crazy. It's almost like we're addicted to it, though, because I've seen a study the other day saying like, I think it was high school kids. They stare at screens like. It's just, continually growing. Like it went from, 20 years ago to where kids, they just stared, like at a TV, like 4 to 5 hours. Now it's like up to, it was like 9 hours or something, because it's not just TV. Now they have like tablets, phones, laptops, desktops. They have the Game Boy. You have your PlayStation 3, your Xbox, 360, whatever. So you have all these, different devices that, it's just, consuming so much of the young adults, like in the kids, like their time. Like I look at my daughter, we were on vacation, and I bought a MacBook Air while I was on vacation, and my daughter's sitting here playing with it, and the thing she asked me, she says, "Daddy, how come I can't touch the screen and do stuff?" Like she's so used to like her iPod, or she has an iPad Mini. She's so used to like touching it and interacting, and she wants to type something. The keyboard pops up, and this laptop, she's like, she just doesn't know why she has to use the keyboard. Like, so just her way of thinking, like she's not used to using a keyboard. She's used to like touching and having everything like on one device, not having to use separate input. But it's just I don't know, it would just be so awesome to get to grow up like with social media and Facebook, and if I was in high school, like with Facebook or Twitter, my gosh, I probably would have been like a high school dropout, because I would have just I know that it's like addicting, like all this stuff. But for the inner city stuff, like what do you think, like the reason that they're not interested in it? Do you think it's just they're interested in it because you said like they're using it more than other adults or other young adults? Do you think that they're interested in just using the technology and not so much how that technology works? Do you think that it's because they're just, like you said, like they're more interested in basketball, football, or music or whatever? Do you think like they're influenced in, by these, either, rapper or something, and they're not really rapping about like how technology works? Do you think that like plays a part in it, or what is your feeling on that?
Yeah. So one, I do want to like disclaimer asterisk that, because I mean I get people get offended sometimes, right? Yeah. But it's the same thing. Oh, this is not me. This is not everybody. Yes, we know that it's not all urban kids or even black kids or Hispanic kids. I mean, it's just different pockets of community across the country, heck, across the world. But majority of these kids are African American and Hispanic, and the ones I'm referencing to, based on plus the data that I have collected. And so, answer your question. The word that I like to say is the big problem is the culture, right? And the culture has history, and because of that culture and that history, that's the mindset of a lot of communities, where it's like not interested or don't see it as it's something for them. And then because there's communities that could be mixed with just that's not even black or Hispanic, just white communities, but if depending on that community and that culture of that community, it may not be interested in technology at all, or entrepreneurship, or start a company, and there's no hope there, or whatever, right? And so pockets of culture in our country hinders levels of innovation if they don't have hope and desire to change. And look at African American culture, it's like we've been fighting, like the culture's history. We know about slavery. We know about oppression. We know about, equal rights, right to vote. Then it's all about industrial age, get a job, so forth. And then after that happened, then it's supposed to be a level playing field. Mm-hmm. And then in some areas it is. I don't believe we're ever going to remove racial bias in our country, ever. Not across the board, 100%, never. Is it better today than it was 50 years ago? I question that, right? But because of the culture and the history, I believe that that's the reason why we don't see a lot of people in these other communities pursuing opportunities that where other communities are excelling at, right? You know, you have the Asian communities, the Indian communities. They're like, nothing is stopping us. You know, I mean, especially out here in San Francisco, Silicon Valley, two thriving communities doing great, amazingly well. And so what's the difference, right? You know, is it because those families, those groups, so forth, or those individuals focus on hard on education, on other values, and where African American community, we love sports and music and entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds.
Go ahead.
Excuse me. I'll say it reminds me of like I follow baseball. Like I go back to history. I follow all the baseball stuff. But there's a program MLB has called RBI. It's like reviving baseball in inner cities, and the reason why they have this program is because in inner cities, you know, baseball is an expensive sport to play. When you think about it, like you know, you have like your catcher's gear. You got to have a field. You got to have the grass cut. You got to have the the sand raked, and the base pass, and everyone has to have gloves and uniforms and balls and bats, and that starts adding up. Versus other sports to where you have like these basketball, you just have to have a goal and one ball and you can have a game. And or football, you just have an open field and a ball. You don't even have to have anything. The touchdown, you run past this point and it's a touchdown or whatever. And that kind of reminds me of that within the inner city, like with the tech community, because this technology is really expensive. And to get into this, if you wanted to get into developing or coding, you'd have to have the knowledge, the drive, and the talent to do it. But you'd also have to have the equipment, and that's a very expensive aspect of it. Whereas other, like if someone aspired to be a musician or a lyricist or spoken word artist or whatever, you don't have to have anything. You just have to have a pen and a paper, and that seems like an easier avenue, or I guess it's a cheaper avenue, and one that maybe seems more reachable, like a more reachable goal, I guess. I don't know. That's the right word to use for it, but
one thing is money is not the issue here. I did an interview with a USA Today reporter when the reports from Pew came out saying that the top two demographics of social media sites were African American and Hispanic. He was like, why? And you want to talk to somebody black on social media. I'm like, okay, that's me. Google, whatever, I came up, and I was telling him about the smartphone adoption. Right? He was like, how can it be when these communities are portrayed as being poverty? I said, tell that to Nike, right? Tell that to Nike when a new Air Jordan come out and there's fights in malls and crazy other stupid stuff. It's stupid, right? I mean, it's really I'm ashamed, right? When I see him about stuff like that, fights in malls about. I mean, really, it's like,
it is stupid.
I mean,
it is.
I don't have to look at the pictures and know the demographic that's doing that, right? That's in line to do that, right? And I got a throwback on that note as well. About those technology. And line is saying like somebody shot over a brand new pair of Jordans. How much those things cost? $200-$300? Money's not a problem. We say poverty. That is if you really think about what you're gonna eat tonight, it's really hard for you to spend 8 hours coding a project. That's real, right? But in other communities where it's poverty, but you got enough money to go buy $300-$400 for a pair of Jordans or whatever, and buy smartphones and tablets. Is it money the problem, or is it the mindset of wanting to learn this and see the value and why? Or you want to be the value of just saying, you know what, I can hustle, I could play music, play basketball all day, or I'm just gonna do whatever. You know what I'm saying? And because there's two other points to this that I'm real passionate about, as you can tell. One is that one point it's not the passionate part, but just to piggyback on because of what I've heard. Even other black people say, well, this is the same thing standing in line for iPhone or a tablet, iPad, which I have done, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I stood in line for iPhone. I stood in line for an iPad one time, the first one that came out. 3 times for the iPhone, the first 1, 2, and 3 came out. Mm-hmm. And it was fun. I did it, not for a cool thing, maybe a little bit, but more for a fun thing. It's like fun. Gadgets. And I guess to piggyback, they say, well, I like shoes, okay? All right, but then still it's a different demographic overall. It's not the same demographic. So I debunk that argument. The second thing is that another thing I'm real passionate about is the stereotype of what I feel like is Black America. Mm-hmm. I hate it. I feel like my opinion is that you look at it, say, you go get 100 people, ask them what they think about, and put some images up of what they think about Black America, and they will probably categorize these images in the same look and feel. Wow. But there's a middle class, there's a tech Black America, there's a middle class Black America, there's successful CEO Black America, founders of great companies. A lot of, I came out here, I didn't know a lot. I can say there's still very low compared to the other demographics, but there's quite a few successful developers, coders, business development, founders of tech companies out here in San Francisco and Silicon Valley. But you won't hear nothing about them. And so my thing is, I hate what I feel like is a stereotype of what people think of an African-American male, an African-American woman. Reality shows, news media play that aspect, and then the community itself plays a bigger role in terms of leading by that negative example. And that is part what drives me, because I want to be successful. So people I don't fit none of these stereotypes, and I didn't go to Stanford, Harvard, MIT, whatever. I'm from North Carolina, and I can launch a successful tech company and be successful.
Yeah, that's entirely true, and I have not lived the life that you have with having to deal with these stereotypes, except for maybe being a female in tech, which there's plenty of females in tech, but I would imagine that'd be very challenging, and I think that what you're doing with this is outstanding, really, even within the communities themselves, just to have them realize, hey, there's something else that you can do, because they're probably surrounded with different, the same ideas of, this is maybe what I need to do. But then when they're launched with this information that you're providing, then they're saying, hey, there's other things that I can really do and that they might not have been exposed to before. And then in regards to the stereotype, I can't stand stereotypes. And anyone who, and it makes me so angry, anyone who sees color or sees race or sees religion. I mean, we are all human beings. We're all equal. Even my pets, I consider my equal. Like, I don't think my life is any more important than theirs. And for anyone to pass judgment, I don't understand how or why people do that. And so, I just am really grateful that you are launching these programs and trying to change the way things are. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And kudos to you too, and Chris, both you guys. This is a good thing, because part of having an impact or doing anything in terms of just doing what you love. I feel like if you didn't love what you do, if you don't love what you do, don't do it. And it seems like you guys love doing this, so this is great. But then also the opportunity to tell stories, and that's where you learn from others, you pass on some of your wisdom to others, but then you create an audience that other people can learn as well. And so this is cool. This is good.
Thank you. Yeah, I do enjoy doing this podcast. It's a lot of fun. We get to speak with people like you, so it's eye opening. I've learned a lot so far. I do have another question, being that we were talking about these stereotypes, and this, not that this necessarily falls into it, but I think it somewhat does. The New Me Accelerator program. I saw that you were a co-founder of that. Can you tell us a bit about that? And is that still in existence, or is that over with for right now? or on the back
Yes,
burner?
the New Media Accelerator was a idea that myself and my former partner Andrew Bitten came up with in 2011. Like that's back when I was still living in North Carolina. And you remember Tryout, the company that me and Lawrence. Yeah, so
I remember that.
Lawrence, I was working on a mobile app called Tryout. It was like a little bit ahead of his time at that time, and in terms of who's competing with Foursquare, and then, you know, because I see people doing the same thing now. Like really, you know, the same concept. But I was like, okay, well, it's just timing. And so we learned a lot by launching that mobile application in North Carolina. So Angela, she had called me up. She wanted to do a mobile app, and she was in Charlotte. And I was like, based on my experience, if you're trying to launch because we started off hyper local, so telling her based off my experience that if you want to launch a mobile app around her idea at that time and want to go for the world, launch it in a bigger market. And so we told her, say, hey, just go to Silicon Valley for the summer. And so forth, because we were getting some interest for investors for Tryout. And we was also, you know, looking at making a pivot. And so we were looking at going from there. And then it really started off with being a startup house. Then it led to an accelerator. And so we ended up turning into an accelerator and got featured on CNN, and all that crazy stuff happened. And the goal for the accelerator was to help work with women, Hispanics, and African Americans to be entrepreneurs, help them accelerate their company. Because at that time in 2011, the CB Insights data came out saying that 1% of tech founders are African American. I think now it's 3, the Hispanic community is 1, and women is 5. And so still a lot of work to be done there 2 years later. And so we end up raising some money and allowed to do the accelerator for another couple more classes. And then I moved out here in 2012 to run the accelerator operations. And then I came up with this passion for PitchTo. And plus Angela, you know, wanted to take the company in one direction, and I want to go to another one. And so we decided to part ways. So I left and started working on PitchTo in 2012. And it's still going. I think there has been 1, 2, 3 more classes since then. And she also started doing pop-up events, going into other communities, working with entrepreneurs and so forth. So it's still going. I'm not involved at all, and I wish her and the program well.
Well, I just thought that tied in well with this. I just love how you help minorities realize that they can do a lot more and get their feet on the ground. I'm sorry, my phone is ringing. If you hear that in the background, hopefully you didn't hear that. Did you hear that?
Yeah,
you did hear.
I thought some going fading out music.
Yeah, it was. I have the Parks. No, I had fading out music. I had the Parks and Rec theme song as my ringtone, and yeah, so it was ringing twice, 2 calls. Anyway, so no, I think it's right in line with what you do. So it's fantastic. Now, I remember when you were on CNN about that. I was like, wow, that's a huge deal. He's on CNN now, and you're Facebook verified. You're like one of 5 people that I know that are Facebook. Not even one of 3 people that I know that are Facebook. Robert Scoble, Leo Laporte. That's it.
It's just a little check mark. There's no meaning
it's
to
huge.
it.
What are you talking
I don't
about?
know what all these followers, like Ben Parr told me, said that, yeah, if anybody had, I think, over 100,000 followers on Facebook, they verified them or something. I don't know. But it's like, and then plus they were looking at people who was verified on Twitter, so they kind of copy that. I don't know. But it's like, yeah, it's a blue check.
Yeah,
What about the Google Plus? You verified on there? I know you are, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am.
And I'm still not. Like I have my credit card on file, like on my Google Play account. I have like 40,000 followers on Google Plus, and I still can't get the check mark. I don't know why. I think because I changed my name. I did something stupid. Like I changed the first letter and of my last name and my first name to lowercase, and because that's how I had it on Twitter. And I was like, I'm just going to leave it all lowercase instead of like a proper whatever capitalized C. And I don't know. I think when I did that, I don't know, maybe knocked me down from getting the check mark. I have no idea.
Oh no, I know. And early on, before like with Google Plus, I forgot that platform that Google had, Kano. I think that's what it was called.
Oh yeah, if you paid
Yeah,
the $5 or something, right? You could get the.
yeah. Well, I had verified. It was I don't remember paying $5, but maybe I don't know. But it was like I had verified on Cano, and then they linked the two platforms together, and then they shut down Cano. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, and then the funny thing is, there's a girl on Google Plus who I know, and she doesn't even use her real name, and she has the friggin' check mark. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, really? Like, she's not even using. She's using her real first name, but not her real last name. It's like a pseudonym, whatever. And she has the friggin' check mark. She has a lot of followers too. Maybe like 3 million or 4 million.
Wow.
And I'm not going to say who it is because I don't, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got mine, because right after they launched verified names, it was what was it, Christopher? Within like a week or less or something. Just a few days later, I had mine verified, and I had no idea why, and I was not verified on Knoll or whatever it is, Knoll, KONL. I was not verified on there, so I don't know. But I'm not verified on Twitter, and I'm not verified on Facebook. And if I could pay for that, if I could pay $5 and get verified, I'd do it. $10, $50, I'd do it.
Like, so how many 500? How many users Twitter has? Over 200 million. So just think how much money they can make off of.
I know. If people were to charge for verified accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I could go on and talk with you for hours, but for the sake of time, I want to start wrapping it up. But I wanted to see if there's anything else that you have going on that you wanted to talk about. Anything new going on? And I know you already have your hands full in a lot of things, but you were mentioning earlier tonight, like you were talking with someone about, it was another helping out a minority.
Yeah. So I'm a mentee. There's a bunch of programs out here, right? That's launched. There's Black Girls Code. A friend of mine, Kimberly Bryant, that focus on teaching Black girls how to code. There's Code 2040 by Tristan Walker that focus on, because the data saying by year 2040 there'll be more Hispanics in America than any other demographic. So they launched a fellows program to help. If you're a minority college student, help you get a tech job. And so I'm a mentee. I'm a mentor of that program. So I have a mentee. There's a young kid named Tyler. He's cool. He's a Hispanic kid from Sacramento, I think, or either LA. Mm-hmm. And but he's cool. He has a summer job at Code for America. So I've been mentoring him over the summer. He's just a cool kid. And so I did that earlier today. And then I'm real big into hackathons, right? Organized a couple of hackathons. I did a food hackathon in April of this year in San Francisco. About 200 people came out, and there's a lot of, like, I'm not a foodie. I'm from the South though, right? I still miss the barbecue sometimes, but I'm on this health kit now, so I just don't even think about North Carolina food. I don't even want to think about it. Krispy Kreme, I just don't even want it. I hate it. I don't even want to think about it. But there's a lot of interesting things happening in the food space out here in Silicon Valley, San Francisco, and I like it. I'm learning, so it's another thing I'm excited about. And got a couple of friends. One guy who's the former chef at Facebook, Tim West, awesome guy, and he just was nominated one of Zagat's 30 under 30 recently, and he's a friend and business partner of mine. So all about like innovating, being healthy. Innovative ideas around the food space, and then there's a movement around creating new types of food as well. I don't know if you just saw, but like Sergey invested into the new all like generically grown meat it just came out. And so when you think about hacking food, people don't think about that type of hacking, but that is part of the play. And so that's one of the things involved in. And PitchTo is my baby, is my platform. Mm-hmm. Passionate about a lot of things, but student ventures, and I need to get better writing more on my blog and Wall Street Journal, some other things.
I did read that your blog was ranked one of the best 50 tech and social media blogs in the world.
Yeah, that was in 2011 or 12. And I was blogging a whole lot more.
Nice.
It's hard. If I was trying to do it now, it would be hard because there's so many people blogging about social media stuff now, and I'm not passionate just about social media. At one point I think at one point early on, because I saw the potential of how it was used to build relationships and communicate and create awareness, like in situations for national disasters or just informing people about real-time news because we know what the television station. But the way things are now, I don't like it. And so, but I am passionate about entrepreneurship, technology, and using that, to empower and educate people to have better lives. So that's what I really want to continue to write about.
Yeah.
Social media is ruined for me, like especially Twitter. Like I love Twitter, but now it's like everybody's fighting. Like just last night, I'm not even being funny. You could go look this up. The Washington Nationals, the baseball team, they literally sent out like a tweet bashing. No, it was the Atlanta Braves and the Washington Nationals. Yeah, the Nationals sent out a tweet bashing the Atlanta Braves. I mean, Atlanta Braves, like they're fighting online, like the social media thing. I see it with the musicians. I see it with Justin Bieber versus Drake Bell, the Nickelodeon kid. Like, I mean, seriously, like leave the social media stuff, like, as social media, like leave the little bickering and the fighting. And it's like, and like you said, in the beginning of here, like everybody's using it now to like promote their websites, and they're just pasting links, say check this out, whatever, and it just doesn't feel like it did, 2 or 3 years ago.
No, it was a lot more enjoyable.
Even like even Google Plus, like I like Google Plus, I use it every day. But I do not like it as much as I liked Google Buzz, which nobody used. But I enjoyed
Buzz.
Google. I enjoyed Google Buzz. Like I had a good time on there.
Me too.
Like it was just a fun and whatever. And then now Google Plus, it's like it's so big. It's just like I don't even enjoy. I don't feel like I have a relationship, or friendship with the people that I communicate with daily on there, like I did with Google Buzz. With Google Buzz, there was probably about 50 people that I probably communicated with several times a week, and talk about their kids or what they're doing, where they're going on vacation, or they just bought a house, or they're renovating something. And then now it's like I don't see that. Now my Google Plus stream is literally, Android is awesome, the iPhone sucks. It's just like it's all like tech related, and it's just like I like that stuff and I'm interested in it, but I want to use social stuff for some social stuff and not just and I'm guilty of it too. I do, and I send out a lot of links and post a lot of things that I enjoy that other people maybe don't. But I'm just at a point like where it's like, wow, I'm just exhausted from social media. Like,
It's not. I listen more now, but like listen to certain streams that I set up, like list. I don't get in none of that back and forth stuff. I'm at a point now where I don't want any negativity in my life, my mind. I mean, stuff is going to happen, right? I mean, you can't block out everything. You can't live in a perfect world, but I can do the best I can. And I don't, I just ignore it. Just focus on the positive, creating a product platform and be successful and take him, help my little boy out and go from there. And all this other stuff is first world problems or either just ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's right. And I love all the positive messages you put out there too. Like, there's always like some motivational posts, especially on your Facebook feed that I see, and that always gets me going. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. So,
thanks.
You're welcome. Hey, how's your son, by the way? He's over a year now, right? Year and a half, or is it?
Yeah, he's 2. He's like 2.5.
2.5. Oh my God.
Almost 2.5, and he's great. I miss him. I need to get back to North Carolina, spend some more time with him. He's in North Carolina. I'm out here. His mom is doing a great job with him, and me and him, we FaceTime and Skype, and he's grown up fast, so he's a smart little boy though.
Yeah, I remember when you set up a Twitter account for him when he was.
Yeah. One day, he'll start using it and be like, I'll record it. It'd be like a breaking moment. Michael sends for his tweet.
Oh, that's so great. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my daughter. She has a Facebook account only for the games. She doesn't have a Twitter account, but she's 9 years old. She doesn't use Facebook at all other than to play the games. But I had it set up for her, and I don't use Facebook, so I'm just not a Facebook user. I have an account, but I never use it, or I rarely use it. But I got her one, and she has a Gmail account, and she does email, and I do FaceTime with her, and she lives like an hour from me, but I do get to see her, like every other weekend. But we do FaceTime, several times a week. And I have some of my friends that laugh at me. They'll say, "You actually use FaceTime?" I'm like, "Yeah, to talk to my daughter, but I don't use it for anything else." But it's really cool though, that this era that we're living in, this technology is really cool. I mean, 15 years ago, if my daughter lived an hour or across the country like your son, there'd be no way that you could communicate with them other than like the phone, and you're not going to get like a small kid to hold the phone up to their ear for longer than 2 or 3 minutes, but when you could see them like on the screen and talk to them, and they can visualize what you're doing or where you're at, I think their attention span is a little bit longer with that type of stuff or whatever.
And just think next 3 to 5 years, it won't be FaceTime, it'll be actually a hologram. It will be actually Star Wars type holograms. It may be sooner than 3 to 5 years. So that's just where we're going.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's what I've been saying. Everyone's talking about the watch. I'm like, well, I'm expecting a watch with a hologram popping out of it, or maybe even a phone with a hologram popping out. And you're the only other person that I've heard that said the same thing. Thank you.
See, because I'm not saying anybody is not a geek, but see, you're a geek, Jen. That's why But totally. I mean, it's like, what I hope we don't happen with this whole watch market, which I think because of crowdfunding and now this whole another movement happening around hardware innovation, that people won't wait like they did in the 2000s, and where we hit the 2005, 6 bubble that just spent too much time on innovating around social networks and platforms, right? We spent too much time around that, wasted a lot of money. A lot of people got rich. A lot of people, lost some money, and to where innovation was just what happened. And it reminds me of the car industry, right? We went through that phase where it was all about Hummers and Cadillacs, SUVs, and that wasn't good. That was bad. We should have went smart cars and clean air and all that. But we spent years on that because the market was demanding, people were buying. It was a bad time. It proved to be bad for everybody, right? And so we lost years of innovation. And then the same thing happened with the internet. It's supposed to do all this amazing things like where we are now in 2013. I wish it would have happened in 2007 or 8. With how the internet is changing and providing value, and what can now happen with hardware. So the glass, the glass is cool. The glasses are cool. The watches, it's a big market. Yes, okay, cool. But make it to where if I should be able to pop up a watch, hologram pop up, have this conversation. I just don't want to be connected to some apps and some data, or social media on my watch. Man, don't make it really useful.
Exactly. Make it something different, because we already have our devices, but something with holographic image where you can communicate and
I will say this. I really am not, or I wasn't excited about the watch. Like all the, been hearing the rumors, Apple's doing one, Google's doing one, Samsung, all these companies are doing them. And I wasn't really excited. I'm like, I don't even wear a watch. So, my phone is my watch or whatever. And then so when I'm on vacation, for the last 3 weeks, I bought me the Nike Fuel Band, and then I have a GoPro 3, and I bought the wrist strap for it. And I started thinking about like all the things, for these 3 weeks. I had, both these devices strapped to my wrist, and like that GoPro, I got so many people stopping me because it was like this crazy looking, it's got the waterproof casing on it. It's this big thing on my wrist, and I had so many people come up and ask me like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a camera." And I was like, "It's a GoPro. You've never heard of a GoPro?" And they're like, "Yeah, but I've never seen one strapped to a wrist or whatever." And I literally at Disney 2 times I had the security guards come up and ask me what is on my wrist, like it's some kind of explosive device. Like they're coming up like literally like, what is on your wrist? Like going through the gate. But no, the technology for the Fuel Band is cool, even though it really doesn't do everything that I wanted it to do, but I can see where that technology is going. But then if they had a watch that recorded my steps, tell me the calories that I'm burning, but could also shoot 1080p video at high res like the GoPro does, and maybe did a few other things like where it would communicate with my iPhone or my Nexus 4 or whatever, where if I could do something in an app that functioned with the phone. I mean, I kind of getting excited about it, just thinking of some of the other things that it may do other than just that, but that's kind of got my interest like really high right now after using both of those devices for the last few weeks. Whereas before I would.
Totally, Chris. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Yeah, I haven't played with the GoPro cameras yet, but I'm gonna get me one. But I do have a Jawbone, and I've been waiting on Nike Fuel Band because the Fuel Band 2 is supposed to be coming out soon. So that's all I keep hearing is soon, and so I want to get that one. But yeah, because that's a whole nother industry that's really there's there's more than three, but right now the health and fitness and the hardware industries are two big industries that's like, okay, we're talking about disruption or where innovation could happen, or we can use technology to solve some problem, or like, to cut out paper or just track health and fitness. I mean, get excited about stuff like that. And then the hardware and the whole play, but we will hope stuff. I'm very disappointed about the educational space. Did some research there in the last couple of months, and I just shake my head because there's so many moving pieces there, and it's to be determined in terms of how that stuff is going to play out. And there's too much bureaucracy and politics involved. There's some companies like Coursera, Udacity, and a lot more that's like taking off, making a lot of money, raising a lot of money. The question in terms is to be determined on like the impact of online education and how we're measuring the learning process to, at the end of the day, what we're looking at, creating jobs or get a job or build something, right? Like, what's going to be the outcome of all of this online education? So,
yeah, I think like the iBook stuff where you could you could actually go to like Stanford University and get like the whole course like right there on like an iPad or an iPhone. I think that's really cool, and I like to see more university, and I know there's a ton of them within that app on the iPad where you can download them, but I would like to see a lot more stuff with online. Also, another thing too, like I don't think people respect like people who have like an online education. If you say, hey, well, I got my degree online, I still feel like people look at that, and if you say, hey, well, I graduated from this university, they're going to look at that person that actually went to the course. Like, I think you get a better education learning it online because you can actually rewind and go back and listen to that course again and fully understand it, or versus the teacher saying it one time and if it went in one ear not the other, you're kind of out of luck. I mean, I guess you could stay after and ask the professor or teacher to go into a little more detail about it, but I mean, how many kids are going to actually do that? Like when they are in college, a lot of them are probably worried about where they're going to be drinking beer at that night, or whatever. And I just think the education stuff is really important, and I think the online stuff is like really going to be important here in the next like 10 years, because as we see, all these schools now are they're dishing out Chromebooks and iPads and Nexus 7 tablets for the kids, and they're replacing those with the school books. And not only do they have their courses and within an app or whatever, but they've got like the entire world of knowledge in their hands, to where before the only knowledge you had are what was in those books. And let's be honest, some of those books they teach what they wanted to teach and not really what they should have been teaching, as far, especially like the history and stuff like that. Like I think that was really lacking, to where now kids have the ability to go look up and say, hey, well, they said that Christopher Columbus discovered America. Most kids now, they can go like Google it or whatever and be like, yeah, he didn't discover America. He did some evil things there to quote unquote discover it. But
we got a rough history, and this country has a rough history. We really think about it, but it can have a great future. It's just a matter of people just have empathy and care and and be real. You know what I mean? And but we're so driven by all these other motives, and it's just to be determined. But we hope that we can just educate people about what's best, the best way we can. So, like you guys are doing this podcast, so it's cool.
Well, that's a good note to end on. Actually, I like that. So I do need to wrap up. I need to run over to the airport. So Wayne, can you tell everyone where people can find you online?
Yes. Best place to find me is on my blog, socialwayne.com. Go to the About page, and you see all my content information there. And I'm Wayne Sutton on almost any social network you can find.
That's right, everywhere. And thank you so much for being on the show tonight. It's been fantastic. I've learned quite a bit, so I really appreciate
really
it.
fun.
Yeah.
Thanks. I had a lot of fun.
And
thanks for having me.
And Christopher, where can we find you online?
Oh, iCrizzo.net.
iCrizzo.net. Okay, and as far as Get Nerdy With It goes, you can find us at getnerdywithit.com, on Twitter at getnerdy_with it. We are also on Google Plus, and on Facebook, it's facebook.com/getnerdywithit. Thanks so much for being nerdy with us, Wayne, and have a good night.
All right, you too. All right, thanks.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Get Nerdy With It. Join us each week as we interview nerds talking about their passions.
Oh, nerds.
And be sure to visit us at getnerdywithit.com.